It's Michael, and the next short story collection that I am going to be reading is Heads of the Colored People by Nafissa Thompson Spires. What I'll do is after each and every single short story, I'll let you guys know what I think about it, and then at the end, I'll give you guys a overall thoughts. So I've never actually read. I think this is her debut. Yeah, I think this is according to this she written before in other publications, but I believe this might be her first collection. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so I just finished reading the first short story called Heads of the Colored People, 4 fancy sketches, 2 chalk outlines, and no apology. So the collection starts off with the title. Oh my god. It was so good. I loved it. It's basically a story of multiple characters and it converges together to about this like shooting that happens. It was incredible, but the best thing about it is the way that it's told to the reader. It's this like meta, it's like this meta type of way that it's talking about the story. Oh my god, it was fan freaking tastic. I loved it so much. Miss Thompson Spires did not come to play. She, oh my god. And just the topics that it talks about, it relates a lot with like the current political climates, the cops shooting black people. High expectations after that first short story. But one of my favorite characters on here is Riley, and he, oh, I loved it. He is a cosplayer and he loves this, all this in the background. It talks about anime and he cosplays as one of my favorite character in anime, and that's Tamaki from Oran High Host Club. Oh my god. First off, Oran High Host Club, I love that anime with all my heart. It's so smart, so funny, so introspective, so just that is one of my favorite animes, and I tend to watch it like every year because I love it. It's so good. It's one of those animes where I just watch it and then it just flows. It's so good. Okay, and one thing that it talks about that I want to talk about on here is black people doing cosplay, because there is within the fandom of like anime and whatnot, there are some awful people who consider like when black people cosplay as anime characters, they're not the nicest of people. These racists who always puts down black people for cosplaying as anime characters, it for me it's like they're cosplaying as someone that's anime, and mainly anime is Japanese, but it's like you white people are not Japanese, so I don't even understand that logic. Like to me it doesn't make sense. And it's cool because like in February during Black History Month, the black cosplayers come together and they form a hashtag and actually look up and support like black cosplayers. It's really cool. But I'm so happy that Miss Thompson Spires talk about it, because it is something that I love anime so much, and but it's so good. I loved it. Now my expectations are probably going to be too high for the remaining of the short stories. Alright, I just finished reading the second short story called The Necessary Changes Have Been Made. It's about our main character, Randolph, who is a professor, and he's meeting his new desk person, like, you know, he's sharing a desk with another professor, Isabella. And this talks about office dynamics, and the one thing that I am noticing now is that these topics that Thompson Spires is talking about, it's very current. It's interesting because we get the male perspective of what is going on versus, you know, the female, which was an interesting choice for her to make because it gives you this insight that I was like, oh, that is interesting. And so it's like about toxic masculinity and misogyny and like the way that the relationship works and this office dynamics that is going on between the two. I thought it was like it was really interesting, and in the ending it's kind of like stick the landing type of situation. I did like the story. Just finished reading the short story Belletrist, and it's about two parents basically writing to each other about a confrontation that happened between their daughters in this prestigious school. I really liked it. First off, these parents are being parents. Let me just say that up front, because you know parents can get really crazy about their children, and they're very protective of their children. These letters, first off, just starting off at as them taking jabs at each other, and it goes from throwing shade to reading to being really mean, and then at one point it's just like, wow, it escalates, and I was just, and the ending is like, bum bum, because of the way that these affluent families have real effects within these systems. I just finished reading the short story, The Body Defenses Against Itself. This actually deals with Fatima, who is actually the child from the previous short story, Belletrist. It's like more about her body issues and whatnot. So I thought it was okay. I did like the connection that she makes with this meeting this new girl in her yoga class, and then like the poses and whatnot, and then it's also like her judging this new girl who is who is bigger than her, and how she was treated in school. Just finished reading the short story Fatima the Belletrist, a transformation story. This one is about Fatima, who was from the previous two short stories, but you don't have to read the other two. This is like a standalone type of thing, but you do get more out of reading the previous short stories. So basically in this, Fatima meets her friend Violet, and basically Violet is teaching Fatima how to be like black, put that on quotes, because it talks about how being of like being black, of like how to act black. It was pretty interesting, and I really did like it. There were some moments in here I was like, oh, that's that's something to think about. And it's one of those things where like I can see that a lot of the short stories are talking about this experience of not only being black, but this intersectionality of like blackness. I just finished reading The Subject of Consumption. This one was pretty okay. It's about a family. Well, we get two perspectives. One with the mom who's meeting with the producer of a reality show, and then we get the other side of the dad who is at Walmart with his kid in Needy. This talks a lot about things, but I was just like, okay, it's absurd and surprisingly funny, because Lisbeth, who's the one getting interviewed by Mike, who is the producer of this reality show, it's supposed to be about like Lisbeth, who their family is a fruitarian. All they eat is fruits. It's like the pilot of the TV show, and they're shooting it. And then with the side of the husband, Ryan, it's with his daughter Enidia, it's like flashing back and whatnot. I Yeah, there's a lot going on in this story. It was funny, if anything, and I laughed. So I just finished reading the next short story called Suicide, Watch. It was weird. It's about this girl Jilly, and I'm seeing now all of these stories connect in some sort of way, like even a mention of a character or something else. But yeah, it seems as though they all connect so far right now. But it's about Jilly, who is contemplating suicide. And the thing with this is that it deals a lot of how she's so present online, and the way that she interprets her online social media circle, and the way she views the world through her social media. I thought that aspect was really interesting, because I can see of how so relevant it is. And the ending to this was like, oh, okay, yeah, it was really interesting. So it made me think, if anything, within all the stories, it has this weird quirky, like there's this quirkiness to it. I don't really like using that word, because everyone, it's such a used word, but quirky in a way. And I can tell Miss Thompson Spires watches anime. She just has to. I just finished reading the short story Whisper to a Scream. This is about Reina, who does ASMR videos, which is like, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And this talks a lot about like being anonymous online in connection to like real life, quote unquote. And I really liked it. Since I do booktube videos, I myself, now she keeps her identity hidden. I don't, because she can see me right now. I heard about you. I've been waiting for you at the Dell. That's one of my favorite vines. Really liked it. The more I read of her short stories, I really am Thompson Spires, I could tell she knows a lot about like the online things that are going on in the world right now. And I'm really liking that, because it brings this like 21st century relevancy to it. And the topic of this being anonymous, and like how Reina is dealing with like bullies, and then how her mom is like handling her doing ASMR videos. I thought it was really interesting. So yeah, I'm really liking the short stories so far. I just finished reading the short story Not Today, Marjorie. this was a trip. So this is about Marjorie who is going to the DMV, and we follow back basically about Marjorie. And she first off, she works at the bursar office, which if you were in college, you know it is one of the least next to the DMV, then financial aid. Like those are, oh my goodness, just awful places I could to go. Imagine working there, and that's basically Marjorie. And then we basically flash about like Marjorie trying to incorporate all the things that she learned in therapy, like trying to de-escalate the situation. Because it also talks about her therapist and like with her relationship with her therapist, and then also her love life. And this story was a lot, but I kind of liked it because Marjorie is it the if I had to describe Marjorie, she is the can I please talk to the manager person? Like that's who she is. All right, I just finished reading this Todd. This again another story with really interesting character. This is about Kim, who has, I don't think fetish is the word, I don't know, who has a liking or an attraction to people who are disabled, and particularly in wheelchairs. The thing is, I don't know what it's saying. Like, I get there's like almost a humor to it, I guess you could say. Not humor, but there's something Miss Thompson Spires is trying to say, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a deeper commentary or whatnot. Alright, I just finished reading the story, A Conversation About Bread. So the stories are connecting, okay? Point blank period, the stories are connecting. And so in this one, it does have a connection with some other ones. I won't give it away, but this one is about this guy Brian and Edwin, and basically they're anthropology students in college, and they're doing an assignment where they have to interview about each other and write this paper. There are statements that Thompson Spires is obviously saying, but the thing is, I don't know how I feel about this one because there was this lightness to it that I did like something about, I don't know, this story was just like okay for me. Alright, I finished the last story called Wash Clean the Bones. This one, okay, so this is a theme that I see that throughout like the whole collection, but this one has like a scary, I guess like horror scary type of vibe to it, in the sense that there is something uneasy about it. Well, I don't know, but I would say it has a like really horrific type of moment. This is about Alma, who is a funeral singer. Yeah, I was like, the ending, I was like, oh my god, like it's, yeah, I like this. Alright, so I'm gonna give my final thoughts on Heads of the Colored People by Nafissa Thompson Spires. Overall, I actually really did enjoy this. I would have gave it a 3.5. I rated it 4 stars on Goodreads. Overall, the collection I think is fantastic. My favorite short story on here is obviously Heads of the Colored People. 4 fancy sketches, 2 chalk outlines, and no apology. And I'm so happy that this was the first story in this collection, because it literally opened up the collection with a bang, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm in for a ride. All of these stories deal with Black characters who are each experiencing something different within their lives, and there's these intersectionalities that I really enjoyed that Thompson Spires is able to put within throughout the stories. And besides of Heads of the Colored People, well, I think that is the best standout. My favorite other one would have to be probably like Belletrist, because I just love messy type of stories like that. And I really did enjoy that there's a lot of the stories it ranges from like really funny like really funny moments, and then there are some that really was bizarre and disturbing and like horrific, because like the ending, the thing with the baby, I was like, okay, or like this Todd, I was like, oh, all right, like it made me question some of them. I was like, oh, you can saw in the previous clips. Another thing that I really did enjoy is I can tell Miss Thompson Spires watches anime. Like I truly believe she watches some sort of anime or something. It makes references in here for real that only anime, like people who watch anime would know. Like, and I love that because I've never actually read a book like that where it's actually a black character that loves anime. I sure don't see that enough. I don't even see that in a lot of animes, like a black person in general. So I thought that was really cool because I mean, you guys know, I love Ouran High Host Club. It's one of my favorite animes, and any story that gives it a shout out, it's a win for me in my book. You know, I thought the writing was strong. This is her debut, and I was like, okay, I really want to see what she does in a long form novel. I think this is what I'm enjoying a lot about reading these short story collections. I'm excited, like, to see, especially if it's an author that I did enjoy the collection overall. It's like, what can you do in a long form? Because I want to see, like, just the imagination of some of these stories. Like, if she is able to put that in like a full-on novel, like, oh, I think it's gonna be really, really good. So if you read this collection, or if you read any of the short stories on there, let me know what you think about it. Until then, I'll see you guys till next time. Bye. Oh, and if you watch Ouran High Host Club, let me know because. Alright, so at the end of these videos, I always let you guys know what the next short story collection that I'm reading, and that's Some Trick by Helen DeWitt. I saw this floating around in the book online sphere, so I'm excited to check it out, and I'll see you on the next video.